Now, doesn't this sound familiar? I wanted to do this video since a long time because I want to think with you about the fact that black people are not really a community. And to me, it makes total sense. And here's why I've prepared something because sometimes it's hard for me to articulate myself like spontaneously. So please don't be surprised that I sound like maybe a little bit boring because I read something I've written down. Quote unquote, black people are African people from different backgrounds, histories, and nationalities. The only thing black people have in common which puts them in a group is racism, aka anti blackness. Invented by white European people who invented the racial ideology to justify their sadistic crimes to humanity against African slash black people, slavery and colonization as a side note. Black people tend to only act in their individual interests and don't really work as a team because the thought of being a team based on one's skin color never originated from black people. By the way, that's the same thing you see with native people, like Native Americans. They all have had their different groups, but when the white European came, they just put them all under one box. But there are very like many different groups within Native Americans, for example. Like they are not all the same. So black people tend to only act in their own individual interests and don't really work as a team because the thought of being a team based on one's skin color never originated from black people. The only thing that brings black people together is their plight through racism invented by white people and the consequential life experiences as well as developed psychological consequences or makeup. People tend to view black people as a monolith, which strips the individual black person off of their individuality. Unity is not really through people agreeing to be against something or someone. A group is formed based on similar identities, ideas, goals, experiences, and appearance. The black stands for at the bottom of the non scientific immoral racial case system. Based on that, black people develop different art and music forms as well as a cultural dynamic based on being black. So, what makes a community a strong community? First, shared unshakable values, self love of the individual, genuine love and care for each other, loyalty, being on code, showing unity, especially when facing other groups, pride in their identity, building their own spaces, gatekeeping their identity and culture, always putting their own people first, preferential treatment towards their own people. That's not the case in the black community, so I'm asking you, black women, can we as black women try it? Like racism is so ingrained in today's society and politics, we gotta embrace strong unity and gain success first. So we are immune before we can embrace our differences in individuality. And in other videos I've told you, the only way black people can liberate themselves and gain respect in the world is like, take as an example China. China, I have respect for China and Chinese people because they also had their history, obviously within Asia, like colonizing each other and having war against each other. But specifically, they also, like China has also their history with Western colonialism. But look where they are now. And have given you the points a few minutes ago. What makes a community strong, you know? And if you have more ideas, comment them down below. And yeah, like we could learn from it. But the difficult thing and difference is like when I'm making that comparison, of course, I know China is a country, a huge country, but it's still a country, a nationality, and ethnicity. And Africa is a big ass continent. I'm talking, of course, about the um, black African countries, not about North Africa, like the Arabic countries. Like, of course, I'm talking about black Africans. The first of all, the countries we name nowadays, the African countries, they were named, and the borders, the country borders were made by European people. Unfortunately, I don't know, like I can do research on that, but I don't know how our ancestors organized themselves before the Europeans came, and even before the Arabic people came, because we also got a history of Islamic or Arabic colonization. They were the first ones to have like black African slaves, and black people sold their own people to slavery. So it didn't just happen, like also like other black people participated in that. But the thing is, and what backfired is, white people invented then that racial caste system, so we would all lose, and in their countries we would face a lot of discrimination, you know? So that backfired selling your own people, to make that clear. So it's very complicated, but when you understood that, and when you understand we live in a world that is dominated by men, patriarchy you call it. So, and I said the only way black people can like overcome the oppression, it starts mentally. Black men need to change their ways. They need to understand they will never gain power. They can try to make as much mixed babies as they want. They can try to be in as much interracial relationships as they want. They've been doing it for centuries, and look where they are. Nobody respects them. And because we live in a patriarchy, they need to gain respect. They need to compete with other men, with other groups of men. They need to do that to gain respect. They need to understand they have to take care of their communities. They need to respect the women and the children. They need to raise them and don't leave the mother of their children a single mother. But they will never understand that. I've been doing videos about this. Many black men are sociopathic and narcissistic. The dynamics in the community allow it, and black women also need to change in the sense of you need to stop devalue yourselves just to please black men. You need to understand your worth and your value as a woman, the power you have. You need to understand this. As women, we decide who's going to live and who's not going to live by just choosing not to birth anymore, not to give birth. That's how much power we have. We need to understand the value. We need to go where we appreciate it. Like through our reactions to actions men do, they will understand where your standards lie. And when they can do everything, disrespect you, kill you every 6 hours in the US, for example, and you still worship them and say on public platforms that you love them, that they are kings, although they have nothing to provide and are the losers of society internationally, have a dusty mentality, of course they think it's okay. They're going to continue acting like this. And when you finally realize you deserve respect, they're gonna kill you for that or have overreact because you allowed their narcissism to thrive. And the dynamic we see in the black community right now also allowing non-black people like biracial people into our communities. The dynamic we have right now is colorism, is total disrespect towards black women, especially the darker you are, the more discrimination. That's what we see. We see black men breeding themselves out in high rates. You cannot compare it to any other group of men or even to black women. You cannot compare that. Black men breed themselves out on purpose. Self-hatred, they project onto their own people. That's why I put the two quotes at the beginning of the video. Instead of gaining self-respect, healing themselves from racial trauma, instead of having pride in their identity, they want to be the white man. They're so obsessed with white men, they feel inferior to white men. And I'm calling them out on it because we as black women need to suffer even more, not only because black men also oppress us at this point and kill us, but also because we are women in a patriarchy, and we all know as women to exist as a woman in this world is hard enough, and it actually makes me feel depressed. And imagine being black, being at the bottom of the racial caste system, and on top imagine having disrespectful, sociopathic, narcissistic, antisocial men who do nothing but drain you and the resources you built with them because you hoped you could speak life into them. into these useless people, they go and wave into your face that they invest the resources you built with him back to the white man by dating the white man's daughter. So, but I made many videos about the psychology behind. That's the only way black people could, gain respect in the world. But that will never happen. In my opinion, it will never happen. So what we left to do as black women is let it go. Let go of the fantasy that you can speak life into any man. When you understand the psychology of men, like, for example, on an individual basis, as a collective, you can forget it. You can forget. You cannot change anyone unless they see that it would be useful for them to change, unless they see an advantage for themselves to change. They won't change. And when you force them, when you want to push it, then they will back off even more and not want to go into the direction you want them to go. You can, like, we cannot control anything. The only thing we can do is control who has access to us, who can procreate with us, and yeah, like, basically who can have access to us. Because when people can have easy access to your body just because of their skin color, when people have easy access to your identity, it's cheap. It's cheap and you won't be valued. So the treatment you want to receive from other people, you need to direct, like, you need to show them by how you treat yourself and how you treat like the people who represent you. And I mean black women, towards yourself as an individual and towards other black women. We also suffer from self-hatred, internalized anti-blackness, colorist tendencies, and so on. That we hate each other, like we are all we got, and not even that 100%. So the main solution to all of this black women is to heal your inner child, practice self-love, because when you're secure on yourself as much as you can, and if it's necessary, try to change your environment. When your environment brings you down and triggers you, you need to try your best to fight yourself out of that environment. Like, move out, move to another country or something. Like, try your best. You are worth fighting for your life, for a better quality in your life. You're worth it. Please believe you got the strength, and please accept help when people offer help to you. You know, I encourage you to do that because I think we are worth it. I think we are so special in the sense I'm impressed. Although we got it harder than black men, we even, like, in the US, you are the most educated. Um, you overpower, not overpowered, but not overcame, but how you call it, like, you passed them, you overpassed even your male counterparts, which is embarrassing since we live in a patriarchy. But you even did that because you focused on yourself. Like, the most happiest demographic are single child free women. Think about that, and this society feels threatened by this demographic, because this society is actually built on putting others down. So the ones who are being put down and systemically oppressed, give them space to be basic, mediocre, and not having to do anything to get their privileges. So yeah, that's basically the video. There's not really a black community. We didn't invent blackness, whiteness, and so on. That's white people's invention. And unfortunately, the ideology behind racism, anti-blackness, and white supremacy still remains in people's head. And like I said, there's only one way the black people could free themselves, gain respect in the world, and become immune, a respected group of people. But I lost hope. I lost hope. I can only encourage black women to choose themselves first and not relying on men, and, like, not being dependent on male validation. You really don't need it. You really don't need it. Trust me. You don't need it. Practice internal validation. I will do more videos about that, how I do it. But yeah, that's basically it. It's actually a big topic, but I don't want to talk about it for too long. If you're interested for more videos concerning this topic, please write down below in the comments and your thoughts to this topic. Do you think we are a community, or do you think we are not a community? Me personally, I know I'm a black person, but I know that's not the only part of my identity. I know the consequences and the life experiences that come with my political identities, and which also like form my personality, but that's not all I am, and that's not all I want to focus on for the rest of my life, because I didn't give myself that. I don't have a problem with my dark skin. I don't have a problem with my African hair. I don't have a problem with my dark brown eyes. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with my ethnicity. The world has a problem with that. So please, ladies, give this video a thumbs up, like this video, subscribe to my channel for more videos, comment down below your thoughts. I'm really curious. Please let me know. I love to learn from y'all. And also share this video as well as my channel so more black women can be liberated. We can discuss those topics like here, or read other perspectives. I'm really curious to know, and I'm really thankful for your support. And if you listened until here, I appreciate you so much, and I see you in my next video.